And we welcome in Tim Seanor from the UFO Report, hanging on out with us and talking about some major UFO news. Earlier today, where an incident from 32 years ago saw a photograph become public. Tim, welcome back to the UFO Report, my man. We're going to take you right to the top of the hour. We're going to skip through the news because this is just way too important here tonight.
Awesome. It's great to see you, Dave.
Good to be here.
Kind of blasting in there. Sorry about that.
Quite okay. Quite okay. So what do you think about this full image that so now no longer looks like a photocopy of what they call the Calvine incident? Explain to our audience, first and foremost, what this photograph is all about.
Absolutely. So this was the famed photograph that Nick Pope had hanging above his desk for, I think, decades before it mysteriously disappeared. And along with that disappearance, it kind of disappeared into history until recently when Vinny and the UFO Disclosure Team and UAP Media UK revitalized this by recovering an owner of a copy of this photograph that he'd been storing in an aviation book on his desk for all these years.
So what is the importance of this photo? For people in radio land, it looks like a diamond-shaped craft with what looks to be a Royal Air Force AV-8B Harrier chasing around it.
That's right. And so the story goes that in August of 1990, two young chefs photographed what they thought was a UFO while walking near the Cairngorms in Scotland and took the pictures to a newspaper. The paper passed them on to the Ministry of Defense, or the MOD, and then the photographs just vanished along with the two young chefs. So now, after 32 years, the photograph is revealed, despite the MOD and the National Archives doing their utmost to keep it hidden until 2076 because of privacy concerns. So retired RAF officer Craig Lindsay, now 83, broke protocol and kept a copy of one of the pictures inside his copy of Great Aircraft of the World. And so in this picture, in fact, the first glimpse of, is this in fact a glimpse of America's fabled top secret Aurora spy plane program, or something else potentially? Since the mid-1980s, there had been rumors of a silent supersonic geometrically shaped craft used for spy missions. There have never been substantial evidence that it was ever built or flown, but there have been numerous unexplained sightings and incidents in both the US and the UK that fueled the myth. So now with this new revelation and this picture being re-released, we can take out all of our skeptical hats and put them on again and take another good look at this photograph. And Dave, you actually brought up a great point earlier today of what your opinion you thought it could be, because I know that there's some skeptics out there that have some opinions, but now every time I look at it, I can't see anything but what you described to me. I think you may have ruined this one for me, buddy.
Look, I believe this is a photograph of a UFO. There's enough people who have been able to confirm this, that it is what it is. But you know what? It reminds me of these photos. If I look at it with a skeptical eye, it reminds me of these photos where you see, the photos where you're taking a picture of the ocean and it looks like these giant cargo ships are actually sitting above the water. And this is what it reminds me of. So, yeah, I'm going to bring the photo up here, Tim, for you.
Great.
And so for our radio audience, we're bringing up the photograph of it, which is a diamond-shaped craft, which Mick West, by the way, has already deemed as possibly a kite, a diamond-shaped kite. And the other one that was brought up, let me just see here, ship optical illusion, is the fact that we have a lot of photographs of ships because of the change in water and the distance, where it looks like the cruise liner or an oil tanker or one of these ships is hovering above water, which it's not. Obviously, it's an optical illusion. But many people are saying in the community that this is what it could be as well, that it's been washed out. There's a controversy on Reddit about the barbed wire fence in the photo. I don't understand why that would be a little bit of a difference. Tim, what's your thoughts?
Well, I saw a description online that just rang a bell with me. And so if you kind of looked at it if you bring it back down and kind of look at it at a perspective where you're looking across a fence, let's just consider, instead of this being sky, look at it as water. And what you're seeing potentially is the top of an island. Then the scale is also tough. So this could be on a smaller scale. So a little island with a reflection, and then a boat with a reflection below it. And it just happens to look a lot like an RAF, air wing and a diamond-shaped craft. So it could be cloudy, misty, watery morning, and we're looking across water. I like that theory. If you can kind of just let your eye relax, you can kind of imagine what that would look like here. But otherwise, I can't debunk it further than that. I would say if this is in the sky, that you're looking at a diamond-shaped craft being followed by an RAF, wing. So it's a tough call, and it's an old photograph. And the fact that the MOD scrutinized it, kept it, and tucked it away, and it wasn't just made public, that kind of is a little bit telling. But I mean, if they liked it, I should probably like it as well. They've probably done the scrutinizing for me. So for me to just dismiss it as something else, I'm not, I can't say. But I think this is an incredible photograph. And if it's legit, just what a piece of history.
Well, I mean, look, I like doing things on the positive side. I don't believe that everything about it is negative. I believe this is a UFO. I mean, the difference would be on this is the gentleman who ever took this photograph would have to be looking down because of the fence line, looking down if it is water.
Right.
And yes, you could say that this is somebody, instead of an aircraft, this is somebody in a canoe, and their reflection in the water looks like a second wing. And then, of course, you have the island, which is reflecting in the water. The funny part about it is, if you look at the bottom of this, it shows a complete point. But if you look at the top, there is no point.
Right. Yeah.
So, I mean, this is a photograph that is going to be debated heavily over the years. But let's get to one of our favorite ufologists here. All right. The Brillo pad hair dude, Nick Pope, who gets paid a lot of money to say nothing in the UFO community. And as you stated, he originally, when he started all his television stuff, had a photograph of this on his wall. He goes on Twitter today and says, Calvine UFO photo. It's my policy not to comment on leaked information, especially if it might be classified. So until I receive Ministry of Defense advice, I can neither confirm nor deny if this is the picture that was displayed on my office wall when I ran the MOD's UFO desk. Nick.
No, he said on a TV show, and described this and everything that he did. So it's funny that we're seeing this as his public statement now, that Vinny and his team came public with this. So, yeah, Nick.
Nick Pope needs to get, his nickname should be NASA. Never a straight answer. Seriously.
Or
this
perhaps,
guy,
perhaps the answer you're looking for the right dollar amount.
Well, I would just like to see him once use an original thought on television rather than stealing everything from Chris Mellon and Lou Elizondo. I'd really appreciate that. I think we would all be better off for that. You know, I mean, like I said to you a few nights ago, and I'll repeat it tonight. If you watch sports, there's always commentary and commentators and people talking about the highlights of what's going on. They know the players, they know the names, they know the positions, they know the salaries, they know everything about those players. Nick Pope goes on TV and it's just a gust of wind repeating everything that Elizondo and Mellon just said in the previous interview. That's not how it gets done. And yet, from what I'm hearing, he's commanding big money to be a so-called expert in this field because he worked for the MOD, the Ministry of Defense in the United Kingdom.
Yeah, I think he was our touch point for Bent Waters for a long time. And so he was in the spotlight a lot for that. And so he's one of those guys that's managed to stay relevant and stay on talk shows and things like that. But really, I mean, if you've got inside information at this point, you should be adding to the story, not developing questions, right? He should be answering them, not developing questions. So anyways, that's just my opinion on that. But really, this photograph, if it is a legitimate photo, what a great piece of history. I'm not, I'm one of those people that I'm neutral on it. I accept it as is. It could be, mistaken identity. It could be legit, but either way, I think it's a wonderful photograph, and it's so great that we have it back. Because why would the DOD or the MOD rather bury this?
And you know what though? The problem is this is a photograph that is going to get absolutely shredded by anybody who is even a third skeptical, a quarter skeptical.
Yeah, because it's too good. It's just too good.
It's either too good to be true, or it's just way too good.
Yeah.
I want it to be true. Trust me. I want this photograph to be real. I want this little, what looks to be a plane here, to be an AV-8B Harrier.
Yeah.
I want this to be a craft. The issue is the people who are reporting on it are very trustworthy in the field, including Graham Rendell, who has been a former guest on this show just a couple of months ago, who is extremely well-versed in what is happening over in the United Kingdom regarding the UFO story.
That's right.
And we, Graham is the type of guy who helped get this photo out, who helped with the article, and he is the type of guy where he is going to dig in order to make sure his information is correct.
That's right.
And the problem that we have, though, to play devil's advocate here for a second, Tim, is we have a numerous amount of people in our own field here who don't believe anything that comes out of fringe media or mainstream media regarding this topic. And you can't win with them. You can't win with the Mick Wests of the world. You can't win.
That's right.
And go ahead.
Briefly, I just wanted to interject something here because I feel it's relevant. And so, if nothing else, the history, of this, the purported history of it, is just as important, I believe, as the photograph itself. The fact that we're seeing how information like this was handled in the 90s and tucked away. The fact that it was taken off of somebody's wall, if he was in the MOD and this was on Nick's wall, it was just taken from him and, scurried away. And so I think that is almost as important as the photograph itself, like I said. how information was handled in the UK sounds like a direct reflection on how things were handled here by our Air Force and all of Project Blue Book and all of the data that was handed off into the 90s here, where we went pretty much radio silent for UFO here. I think only MUFON was kind of struggling through with their reporting system. But there was really nothing of interest for, publicly.
That is true. That is true. Tim Seanor with the UFO Report. It continues right after this. When we come back, Congressman Tim Burchett says it's a matter of time before aircraft and UFOs start colliding in the sky. We'll be back with more Spaced Out Radio after this. Timmy.
How you doing, buddy?
I'm awesome, man.
You sleepy tonight? You're a little sleepy.
I am.
You've been working hard. You're burning the candle at both ends, my friend.
That's all I ever do. All I ever do. But you know what? Gotta fight it. Gotta fight it. Don't have a choice.
That's right. Gotta stay awake, too.
Mm-hmm.
I got my big feet on for you.
Do you?
There they are.
Nice.
Hey, man, I hope you don't get stung to hell.
I'm not going to get stung at all.
I hope not. Because I don't
not stung at all.
I don't feel like wearing underwear with your face on it. Now, if you got wristbands with your face on it.
No, there are no wristbands with my face on it.
Because that would be cool.
You're going to get some ginch, buddy.
Ay, caramba. Ay, caramba.
Mm-hmm.
Timmy no likey.
No, you know what? I just keep looking towards every day, dude, and there's always stuff to do.
Wasps. They're just a big wasp.
And it's not just SOR, like the other day, when they brought my woodshed, they didn't bring the cement bricks that it was supposed to sit on. So I had to drive 45 minutes there. Then you're there 10, 15 minutes, and then 45 minutes back in order to get those bricks. Well, that 90, 100 minutes, I lost where I couldn't mow my lawn. And Tim, I mean, our audience really doesn't know, but you and Terry have a very good understanding of how my days are planned out. Like my days are planned minute by minute. And yeah, I don't have time for errors.
That's right. That's right. But at least you slotted time for Oreos. We've got that covered.
Oh, I can have one right now if you wanted.
Please do. You deserve one, buddy.
I totally deserve one.
Let's get your sugar spike up, bud. I see your eyes are getting heavy. You got baggage under those eyes, bud. You need some sleepies.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, bud.
I had a 45-minute nap.
Yeah, during the last session, I saw that.
No.
I'm just kidding, buddy. I'm just kidding. No, I can just tell you're tired tonight. It's all good. Hey, check this out. This can go on your sweatbands. What do you think? I designed that.
Oh, I love that. I love that. We should make a little Timmy Seanor logo for a t-shirt. So if you send me the copy of that in a PNG, I'll make some shirts for it.
You got it. Send it on over, buddy. And sweatbands, please, sir. Just a couple.
I'll see if they have any.
There you go.
See if they have any right now. I'm just going to get out of there. I recently made buttons. People are asking for buttons, so I made
a good idea.
Buttons. Catalog.
Send me a bunch and I'll give them out at Phenomicon in Vernal. which is coming up next month. Be there, everyone. Come and check out the lab.
Let's see here. I see shorts. I'm on the new arrivals right now.
Hey, I saw high tops. You have high tops?
I do.
Oh, that's cool.
I do.
Mm-hmm.
So far, I'm not hitting any home runs. Not hitting any home runs with sweatbands, dude.
Uh-oh. Come check out Anonymous Rex. I have some available there. What? No, I didn't say that. What? I have
got
swag.
about 35 seconds.
I give my stuff away for free, though, when you sign up, so.
Well, you're that guy.
I am that guy. Free swag. I've got a ton of it. Got too much swag. It's taking up space in my workspace down here in the closet under the stairs.
Mm-hmm.
That's where I do all my work.
Buddy. 10 seconds. Hold on. We're running third. We're heading for home tonight on Spaced Out Radio. Thank you so much for taking the time to join us. We really do appreciate it. Want to remind you that if you've missed portions of this show or others, check out our free archives at youtube.com/Spaced Out Radio. Do old Davey the favor, hit that subscribe button. Our website is spacedoutradio.com. We have a plethora of features for you. Rock out to Bumblefoot, read Shirky Poo's Newswire, check out our swag as well. Follow us on Twitter at Spaced Out Radio, Instagram at Spaced Out Radio Show, and on TikTok at Spaced Out Radio. We continue on tonight with the UFO Report. Tim Seanor is here, and we're going to get into Tim Burchett, a very loudmouth congressman in the United States, and I mean that with all due respect, because he has been a voice of reason in this insanity we call ufology and disclosure. Now, previously, just a few weeks ago, he was pretty much on the pedestal, standing up, yelling to whoever would hear him that disclosure means release everything. Stop holding back for once. Well, now he's got a new pedestal to stand on, where Tim, he's saying, it is very plausible that very soon we are going to have a plane crash between a UFO and some sort of airliner midair. Says it's only a matter of time.
That's right. And this is actually coming from a really place of knowledge on his part. Ted Rowe of NARCAP has been saying this for decades. And so now it's about time we pay attention. And so U.S. Congressman Tim Burchett has urged the world to step up in investigations into UFOs and fears that if more action isn't taken urgently, tragedy could strike. And so a senior politician, Tim Burchett, has claimed that a collision between a UFO and a plane is only a matter of time, and added that we need to step up our work on extraterrestrials. U.S. Congressman recently spoke about UFOs, now known as UAP, sorry, Dave, and urged people to be wary. He said that although defense chiefs and U.S. Space Agency NASA have launched probes into potential alien craft, Tim believes that not enough is being done, and an accident could be imminent, as the Daily Star reports. He's now called on the U.S. government to make public all the records it holds on UFO sightings, and pilots who claim to have had close encounters to be called to give evidence to Congress. This is huge. It's not new coming from Tim, but this platform is. And so I totally agree that there is danger in our skies if these are potential hazards to our airliners and to all private aircraft that's flying. So, Dave, I understand Tim's pedestal that he's getting up on and claiming that this is a hazard, but what's our military doing? Why haven't we taken a stance that's a little bit more aggressive on finding out exactly what this potential danger could entail?
Well, look, I don't think the military wants to give up anything. They haven't. And as long as nothing happens, it's hear no evil, see no evil. Right? Until an airliner that is filled with people collides with one of these things, if it happens, which I doubt it will, because the way these things can control itself, or the pilots are just that damn good, I don't think we're going to see it happen. I really don't. I think we have more of an opportunity to see on radar, say, a 737 traveling from New York to Los Angeles. All of a sudden, there's a UFO behind it, and the next thing you know, the aircraft has disappeared, the 737.
Right. I kind of disagree, though. Here's my point. If you remember during the public hearings, the one piece of video that they struggled to show us was of something that traveled within just meters of a public airliner, or was it actually a military jet? I'm not sure, but I do know that they had cell phone footage. Okay. And so there was cell phone footage of something traveling really close next to that, within meters, actually, of that jet. And so I think Tim's point actually validates some of these concerns, and perhaps Congress will get another look at this and see that these are actually valid concerns, considering that piece of evidence that was shown at those hearings.
I had forgotten about that piece. That does change my mind. So the one video for our radio audience was an airliner pilot, I believe from American Airlines. This happened somewhere between New Mexico and Arizona. Actually filmed a UFO, which actually was coming right at them, and then pulled up right in front of the cockpit and flew over top of the plane. And like you said, it was within meters, not 50, 60, 100 meters. We're talking maybe 3 to 10.
Yeah. Yeah. And so this is great follow-up for Tim. If that was shown at the first public hearing, Tim getting up and saying that this is a real danger we need to pay attention to, it's great follow-up, I feel. And so a really strong argument for us to get down and dirty and figure out what is actually going on in our skies.
I want to ask you this. Okay, barring Tim Burchett has always been known as kind of an extreme, a radical in the political world. He's extremely Republican. He's very much waving the Christian flag on a lot of stuff. But that's neither here nor there. When it comes to the UFO side of everything, why does he seem to be the only politician who is actually speaking for the people?
That's a great question. I feel that his constituency is really the ones that are platforming this and putting it in writing to him. He's been getting tons of support from people that are also interested in this topic. I also feel that Tim has probably been read in on something. I think this man knows something, right? And so he is feeling a bit of a sense of urgency. I don't know if he's had a personal experience. Maybe that's part of it. But I'm willing to bet that one way or another, this person knows something and is urging others to get attention put to it. And so if just to further that, Tim is former mayor of Knox County, Tennessee, and he expressed frustration that defense chiefs have so far only been able to find an explanation for one of the 144 reported sightings since 2004. He claimed that the search for the truth is being hampered by the lack of transparency, which isn't just unfair to the public, but could put the safety of our pilots in jeopardy. So he said, and I quote, "Plenty of military pilots have reported the UFO encounters that have no logical explanation." And to continue the quote, "Some of them have warned it was only a matter of time before an aircraft got a mid-air collision with an unexplained object." And yet, despite these warnings and the reports first standardized, the reporting the structure wasn't established until 2019. And so our government has been surprisingly quiet about the topic for many decades, despite all these reports. And so really, it's just him with his interest. He's got a sense of urgency because he sees that these many reports are coming and we're not getting explanations. And so that is a big question mark.
Well, and I'll be honest with you, as someone who is not American, I love what he's doing. I do. I think he's ruffling feathers. And the one thing I like about it is a lot of times when politicians of a certain party start ruffling feathers, they get shut up. They get, up here in Canada, we call it, you get backbenched. Okay, which means you go way to the far back of the benches in the House of Commons, and you're lucky if you get one or two questions a month, if not every couple of months. But he, as in Tim Burchett, seems to not be shutting up about it.
That's right. He keeps pushing the topic because he understands how it's an urgent topic, and it's one that needs to stay on the forefront of Congress, and it needs to be urged through. We need to change how things are classified. And I think that's also part of what he's talking about. We need some different kind of transparency put in place for Congress, so at least they can get clear data to make good decisions on lawmaking. And we need to delegate funds, right? And so Congress needs all the information. The only stopping point at this point is how things are classified within our government. So by the time the information gets to the people that are actually spending the money, actually making the laws and delivering that, it's been watered down to the point where you can't even make out what's in the video, right? All the good stuff has been held back. They need to understand absolutely all the details. We as the public, maybe we don't need to know, okay? I would love disclosure to the public, but we need transparency at least to lawmakers, Congress, and the people that need to know, not just in the United States, but also in other countries, because it doesn't just affect the US. If this is a real thing, it needs to be addressed planetarily, not just by the US, not just by Canada, right? It's a world issue.
And you hit the nail on the head, which is what we said in the Dave 101, which is this affects every single person. It's not American. It's not Canadian. It's not Russian or Chinese. 7.75 billion people are about to be floored by what we know and what we see on this topic, Tim. And,
that's right.
It doesn't matter your religion, your color, your sexuality. It doesn't matter if you're living in the jungles of Vietnam or Brazil, or you're in metropolises like New York, LA, London, Paris. It doesn't matter. This is going to affect everyone and everything around us. And it almost feels, Tim, that Burchett sees the game that is being played and is basically saying, I don't like it. This isn't the way this is supposed to happen. And because all he's done is pretty much all but say, we're about to get screwed here, my fellow Americans, and you're not going to like it. I don't know if like I said, I don't know if he's been read in. I really don't. But if he has, or even if he's been read in a little bit with information that he has received, boy, oh boy, maybe that's why he's shelling out concern.
Definitely, potentially, he's been read in. He talks like a man that has, but I like his gusto, and I do see where he's headed. I also feel that, the winds of change have happened already. And so all he's doing is fielding that and going with it, right? We already know that people are starting to talk about this topic as being a potential reality. Dave, what do you think is going to happen when they have to understand that there might be multidimensional and not from somewhere else?
Well, this is where we're dealing with the danger, Tim. This is where we're dealing. If you need, this is where I see a big screw up potentially happening. Okay. And that is, if you're not transparent with what is coming or what is going on, you can't expect people to be hyper scared and hyper vigilant when things do arise. This is what's scary. All right. You just can't not say anything. And I had to say that politely because I was about to say something else. You know, you have to be able, Tim, to let people know. And I think the government knows a lot more than what they are letting on. But they also don't want the American people to revolt. They also don't want to see an end to the military-industrial complex. There's a lot at stake here with this. And this is why Tim Burchett is potentially scary for them.
That's right. And demanding transparency means opening up your books, right? And that's the last thing that they're going to want to do. And I completely understand that, but at the same rate, it's so necessary for this topic. This has to be understood by Congress in order for them to make decisions. It has to be understood by our world leaders to see how we need to collaborate. So the topic isn't owned by our government. It isn't owned. The skies are not ours. We may say they are and claim that, but they're not. They're everyone's, right? They're no one's. And so again, circling back to exactly what you're saying, this topic is going to get highlighted over and over again, I think, and Tim's the guy to do it because it's an imperative. You've got to see that this could potentially be a danger to things that are trying to transport back and forth in our skies, whether it's manned or unmanned. And to understand that, we just need to do the science, figure it out. Let's take a hard look at it and be transparent about what it is.
Oh, very true. Very true. We do have to monitor the science of everything. But I still think, you know, I mean, that's breaking down the subject a little too much right now. What we're dealing with is one very loud congressperson who is asking the right questions, and it's falling on deaf ears from his own party and from the media and the government in general.
Do you have anybody in Canada right now that is kind of making some statements on behalf of their government on where they should be looking?
We are about, if we're playing golf here, you guys are on, as Americans, are on hole number 8, and we're just teeing off.
I gotcha. I know that there's collaboration going on. I was so excited a few months ago when we were reporting on Canada starting to research some of the incursions it was having over its power facilities, whether it be drone or other. And again, the relabeling of the Department of Defense's program looking into UFO, now adding the fact that it's going to be looking underwater as well. A multi-medium, if you will, incursion. And we're also seeing Project Galileo starting to dive down deep and take a look at what we have on our ocean's floors. So I think that this is going to be important science moving forward, looking for data. We need to still keep looking up to make sure that, you know, we don't have these problems coming from our skies. I wish that there was something, you know, that we could point to in every country where there was somebody that was kind of on the forefront of this topic, the way Tim Burchett is doing for our country, at least at this point.
Well, everybody in the UFO field, literally, you know, fans of this or whatever, they need to understand this. There's major agendas going on right now, Tim. Major agendas. You can't just support and flag wave that we are moving forward. These agendas are pulling this field into multiple different directions right now that is going to upset the entire UFO apple cart. Once again, listen to my Dave 101 for that as well, right here on our YouTube channel. But I really do believe, Tim, that this is being done on purpose. There's multiple agendas, and it is to and it will end up accomplishing a number of things, including shutting a lot of people up down the road. It may not be about aliens. It may be fully about technology. We don't know. And as long as the people who say they're working for us are staying silent on the subject and not talking publicly about it, whatever that situation may be, we're not going to be prepared for whatever is coming. And that is a dangerous precedence.
Right. And don't we have another report coming to Congress from our new UAP UFO task force? Shouldn't that be coming in October, I believe? So we'll have to see what portion we get of that report and what Congress deems appropriate information to share with us. Because again, we're owed a report. And in that report, I expect details, right? And maybe video. Who knows? We got some video from the last public hearing. Do you think that this next report, hopefully coming up in the next few months, will have some of those details? Or what's your gut instinct? Or what have you heard?
Well, I haven't heard much because nobody talks to me. Nobody. But what I have heard on a serious note is there is a lot of projected meetings on both sides of the border. When, where, who's involved, I have no clue. No clue whatsoever. But we got to get out from behind the scenes. Grant Cameron says it best. Okay? If we want to get the story out, let's put it public. Nice and simple.
Yeah.
What are you hiding? What I think they're hiding, Tim, is millions upon millions upon millions of dollars in potential revenue from the technology if they could get their hands on it, if they haven't got it already.
Oh, yeah. And I also feel that there's tons of data, tons of video that we haven't been shown and will never see. And the fact is that all the public videos that we see get buried and shot down and scrutinized to the point where we don't even consider them real, which is incredibly frustrating when you're looking for real UFO videos out on the internet and you can't even find one because it's so buried deep that in the algorithm rather, that you can never find a real fact in the internet or a real video to point to when we know that there's plenty out there. I myself shot one, so there's at least one, but it's hard to point to real evidence that you can see and point to. And that is incredibly frustrating with this world of fakes.
Very true.